I'm drinking tea, and today I thought it would be fun to spill the tea on some of the things that I really miss from America living in Europe. They are not the essentials, but the things that I think America does better than the places that I have lived in Europe. We're going to start with the fridge. There is something here about mini fridges, not mini fridges, but many, M-A-N-Y, fridges. And they don't have the fan that powers and blows in the same way. Now, they take less energy, but if your fridge doesn't have space around it, so maybe if it's like stuffed in a cabinet, like mine is, and doesn't have space above or around it, your fridge is going to give you problems. It took me a really long time to figure out that all I needed to do was remove the shelf above my fridge so that it would not get a huge block of ice in the back. I've had this happen with multiple fridges because the issue was the cabinet and the fridge was like overheating somehow. There's the huge ice block and then it drips. And then there's this reservoir under the fruit drawer that I had to like literally like bail out into my sink. I never had to bail out my fridge in America, okay? I just want to say now my fridge is doing fine, but it took me years to solve this problem because I didn't know that the issue was that it was packed too closely in the cabinet and it didn't have enough like room for heat to like escape and whatever. I don't know, but it took a huge viral post on Threads and half the people in Europe for me to figure out this situation. I find that American fridges, in my experience, give you less problems than my European fridges that I have had, which are supposedly no frost fridges, but they all frosted because of this cabinet situation. Hi, I'm Andy. I'm a Move Abroad mentor, and I moved to Europe 5 years ago with my husband and my 5 kids. Now I assist people who are fed up of America and ready to get a break. If you are ready to leave and you need somebody who has actually experienced this and can give you real non-Googleable insights, that's why I'm here. And I would love it if you let me know where you're watching from and where you might be interested in living. Toilets. I don't know if it's just where I've lived. I don't think I had this issue actually in the Republic of Georgia. But something about the toilets that I have seen and used here in Portugal, they use less water, which again, all of this is about efficiency, right? And in theory, it seems more efficient. I mean, it's not even theory. In fact, they use less water. The toilets use less water. They are more efficient. But every time somebody does a number 2 in the toilets in my house, because there's not very much water and because of the shape, like you have to keep a toilet brush literally right next to your toilet for every time somebody poops. And that is not my favorite in a family of 7, but this was a learning curve that I was not ready for. Those are 2 things. Oh, one other thing that I really have a hard time here, I can only speak to my experience in Georgia and in Portugal, and then we spent a short time in the UK. Screens and windows don't seem to be a very common thing here, which means even right now in the winter in Portugal, there's flies in my house because I open the windows to let in fresh air. I have stapled some screens on one of my windows here. You can buy screen, but there's not it's not as easy. I'm sure that you can find this. There's going to be people being like, Andy, you're so dumb. You haven't found the screens. But the windows are not built for screens. And the amount of flies that get into my house feels excessive, and it drives me a little bit batty. So those are 3 things. 4 things. Packaging, grocery packaging. It's really only when it comes to the meats and cheeses. You know how in America you can peel the lunch meat and then you can stick it back sort of, or they put the lunch meat in the little plastic containers. The lunch meat situation and the lunch sliced cheese situation, it's really hard, first of all, to get the little corner and open the packages here. But then most of the packaging, at least from where I shop, which, I shop at a bunch of different stores, but mostly I shop at Aldi or Lidl. Lidl, somebody help me. But anyway, they don't stick back together. So sometimes when I can't peel up the annoying little corner thing because it's that hard, then I have to slice it with a knife, and then you definitely can't close it. And so you can't reseal it. I've just found European packaging to be much less convenient, in my opinion, than American packaging. Yeah. These are all things that as a mother just mostly drive me bananas. But dear friend, I would like to say that all of these things that I'm talking to you about are small potatoes when my nervous system feels safe here, when I am not worried about my children going to school and having to do armed intruder drills, when I am not worried about my black son wandering around and having a police encounter as a teenager because people think he's older than he is, happens extremely commonly in America. One of the biggest reasons that I'm thankful not to be living in America is for my multiracial family. Being a mom of black boys, especially who are neurodivergent, maybe don't understand all of the rules about how to safely interact with law enforcement, which honestly don't always keep you safe anyway. For my boy, I'm not worried about them here. I'm not worried that they're going to have a fatal interaction with law enforcement. Does it happen? Yes, rarely it happens. Is racism existent in Europe? Yes, absolutely. But I think that the difference is that racism doesn't as frequently prove fatal. And that's a big difference. That provides a kind of relief for a mother, for a person who's not white, that America cannot currently promise. I have zero thoughts when I go to the grocery store about needing to pay attention to the exits because I need an escape route. Don't think about it. I have zero thoughts when I go to a concert that there's going to be a mass shooting and that I need to have a plan for what I would do in said mass shooting. Don't think about it. My whole entire nervous system feels much more frequently at rest. And the reason that I am here is because if you would like that kind of rest, if you feel underwater in America, if you would like to get out, the things here that matter, in my opinion, the things that matter, the things that make life feel humane, like access to medical care that won't bankrupt you, access to local vegetables and fruits and food at a price that is affordable for most people. The expectation that you can go to school and not have a gun incident. The expectation that people take vacations and that you don't have to work all the time. These are the trade-offs. I mentioned the things that drive me bananas. These are the trade-offs that absolutely may have made it worth it for my family to have uprooted our lives in 2019. We lived in Canada for a time. And then in 2020, we came and we have lived in Europe ever since. These are the things that keep me here. Because to me, they are the essentials. Being able to know that I can have the essentials covered. And even as I look into the future for my kids, for the possibility of going to university, university is not astronomically expensive here. University is a fraction of the cost of university in America. And as a mom of 5, I definitely don't have all 5 of my kids as university-bound kids, but I want them to be able to have an affordable education. I want to be able to feel like I can help them pay for their education. As a mom, living outside of the States has made me feel like I can cover the basics. I'm not worried if my dog gets sick. It's not super cheap to go to the vet, but it's also not completely cost prohibitive. I waited until we were moving outside of the States because I grew up with animals and I've seen one too many over $1,000 vet bills for some bizarre situation with a pet. There's great medical care, not only for people, but for pets in Europe. And so I love having my dogs. I never felt like I was willing to afford medical care for my animals, and so I didn't get animals when we were living in the States. I just want to assure you that if you feel like you need life to throw you a bone and you are ready to get out of America, it is worth it. It is not easy. It is not a simple process always, but it is absolutely worth it. I don't regret it. I think for me, it's probably one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life is leaving for my own well-being and for all of the things that I've mentioned, for the well-being of my kids. So I would love it if you tell me in the comments, what are the things that are on your mind when it comes to wanting life to feel a little bit more humane? What are the things that you wish you had a little bit more mental space about? I have more mental and emotional space here. What are the things that you might be able to do if you had more mental and emotional space? Who could you become? What kind of future could you make for yourself if you weren't living in fight or flight mode? all the time. So if you are a person who has decided that you are ready to go, you are ready to exit America, but you need to figure out your game plan, your map, I invite you to book a Get Me to Europe session with me, and I will help you map it out and get some clarity and get your next steps and actually get you moving on the way here instead of just spinning with your research. I would love to support you, and I invite you to book a call. Thanks for being here. See you next time.